here's this dude who makes a ton of dime just putting a camera in his room while he sleeps. And that's all he does is sleep. But here's the catch. His name is Asian Andy. You may have heard of him. You may not have. Some of your friends could have. But people, and this is what he does, he allows people to wake him up at night. And so you could do a ton of stuff just to wake Asian Andy up and see his reactions. And it's really funny the way that he reacts and just getting woken up. I mean, you can do a text in there. You can hit different sounds. They're very loud. You can do loud music, dog barking, anything. And it wakes Asian Andy up. You have all these top reactions that happen that stream. And so the guy streams on this thing called Twitch, and it's all night long. He makes a lot of bank. He used to make $16 an hour on Uber. Now he can make $16,000 a night. Isn't that crazy? That's just crazy. So Asian Andy, if you want to kind of mold after him, he probably has the corner market on it, but you might make a dime or two if you want to get woke up at night.
His Morning Crew.
Well, how about some good news? I hear there's some good news to share with you this morning. I'm Rob Dempsey. Liz is not here today. There's a need in her extended family. Thank you for praying for them today. 800-447-7234. You're on His Radio. What is the good news?
My name is Lori, and I just want to share some wonderful news. My husband accepted Christ last night.
That is so great. I can only imagine how you feel.
I'm so excited. I just want to share the news.
I can just imagine how many years that you've been on your knees praying for this.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I've been praying for it for almost a year.
A year. That's a long time to be on your knees, but look at that. It's all paid off. Hey, listen, if there's someone in your family, or maybe you're wondering, what is this whole relationship with Jesus all about? We're here for you at His Radio, and if you need somebody to just talk it through, to learn what that is, call our prayer line. It's 866-987-7729.
Rob and Liz.
His Morning Crew.
Lori, moments ago, just said, my husband yesterday became a solid believer in Jesus. Absolutely amazing. She has been praying for years. It gave a lot of people hope who have been praying for people, and some said, I want to know about this, so they're calling the prayer line at 866-987-7729. And this is Holly. What did you want to say, Holly?
Hearing Lori talk about her husband just now, this is just so cool because I prayed for my husband for the first 14 years of our marriage. He wasn't a Christian, and nobody in his family were, and we went through some really, really, really black times during that first 14 years, and we were separated for almost all of 2011, and on September 18th, 2011, he accepted the Lord, and his family has become Christians as well. His mom and his dad both met the Lord, and his mom passed away last May, and I'm watching his dad walk through this season of grief, but he's in church every Sunday, and he's making steps at in his 70s. My husband joined the Gideon's ministry, and so yesterday I'm watching him, as he's speaking in a church about the ministry of the Gideons, and to see how God can take somebody that was lost and mean sometimes. I can't even have words for it.
And to think, Holly, for 14 years you prayed so hard, and look what that did for your husband and his entire family. Amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Rob and Liz.
His Morning Crew.
He has a lot of beds. He thought, let me just encourage 200 to 300 people to stay where they are in my place. It's Rob and Liz, His Morning Crew on His Radio. Liz should be back in a couple of days. There was a death in her immediate family on her husband's side. Thank you for praying for her. So let me tell you about Mattress Mac in Houston. Mattress Mac has this big place, a couple of stores that are there. He is very well known in the community. And back when a hurricane came through, he opened up his place so that people could stay there and shelter. And now with the winter storm stuff that had been going on in Texas and all the power that's out, Mattress Mac said, come on in. My Place is Yours. He's got 200 to 300 people that are staying, kids bouncing on mattresses, having a lot of fun, and sleeping there. So they have some shelter thanks to Mattress Mac.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
Curious about what you're thinking about summer break and spring break that's coming up, because this is the time that a lot of people start scheduling that kind of stuff. And with COVID and what we're living through right now, it's like, you gotta be right ahead of the game to make sure that you can get to where you're going with, you got Airbnbs and everything else that are filling up so quickly. So we started to think this morning about a time that you took an epic road trip, and it was so memorable. So I believe this is your grandparents or your parents, right? You're on His Radio, 800-447-7234.
They went on a cross-country trip out west and came back. The family got together to watch the films, couldn't wait to see about their journey. And intermittently throughout all the films, there were times there would just be this glob. My dad would be taking a picture, video, and there would be this glob. And then later, there would be no glob when my mother was taking video. We finally figured out he had the camera backwards. So here he is taking pictures, video film of the Grand Canyon, spanning, this vista, but yet all you see is his ear, and everything behind him. We never saw, when he was taking the video, we never saw anything of the Grand Canyon.
Rob and Liz.
His Morning Crew.
Here you are, this time of the year when you start thinking about what are you going to do for spring break and maybe even the summer vacation. It's Rob and Liz, His Morning Crew, His Radio. Liz is not here today. Pray for her family because there was a death in the extended part of her family on her husband's side. They're really walking through the journey right now. Praying for comfort and peace on our part right here. So thank you for praying. Spring break. Summer vacations, starting to think about them. And so we thought, since there's not a lot of traveling going on right now, this whole pandemic thing, an epic trip or a memory that you have about traveling at 800-447-7234. You're on His Radio.
We immigrated from Cuba to the United States. And when I went with my grandmother to New York, we went to visit the Statue of Liberty. And all I think about, it was such an emotional experience. I'm not a crier, but I had tears in my eyes thinking of all the people that had come to the United States and gone through Ellis Island with hopes and dreams. And it was just a real great moment for me.
That is good. Well, we'd love to hear from you about your trip, too. 800-447-7234. It's His Morning Crew.
His Morning Crew.
Here you are, this time of the year when you start thinking about what are you going to do for spring break and maybe even the summer vacation. It's Rob and Liz, His Morning Crew, His Radio. Liz is not here today. Pray for her family because there was a death in the extended part of her family on her husband's side. They're really walking through the journey right now. Praying for comfort and peace on our part right here. So thank you for praying. Spring break. Summer vacations, starting to think about them. And so we thought, since there's not a lot of traveling going on right now, this whole pandemic thing, an epic trip or a memory that you have about traveling at 800-447-7234. You're on His Radio.
We immigrated from Cuba to the United States. And when I went with my grandmother to New York, we went to visit the Statue of Liberty. And all I think about, it was such an emotional experience. I'm not a crier, but I had tears in my eyes thinking of all the people that had come to the United States and gone through Ellis Island with hopes and dreams. And it was just a real great moment for me.
That is good. Well, we'd love to hear from you about your trip, too. 800-447-7234. It's His Morning Crew.
His Morning Crew.
We're thinking about spring break, summer vacation in the middle of a pandemic and how now it's like you've got to stay on top of it, especially starting to book things now if you're going to go ahead and travel with your family. Not everybody is doing that. So here's the thought. Some things that you remember with epic trips in the past at 800-447-7234. Jill is here. And Jill, if I have this right, this is something to do with you and your husband at the Grand Canyon. What happened?
My husband proposed on the South Rim Lookout Point. That is by far the best moment of my life.
I can't imagine. How did he do it?
We were just standing there, just staring out like what looks like a picture, and he just turned to me and said, "Will you marry me?" And I asked him to say it again. What?
And I'm going to guess he had the ring and everything.
No, he didn't. We weren't that prepared, I guess, at that point. But he just said, this is the moment. This is what I knew. Looking out at the Grand Canyon and realizing that, wow, this is amazing. And we shared it together.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
If you could have a sneaker that could be themed about anything, what would you want it to be? 800-447-7234. Okay, let's start in the room. TJ, sneaker, shoe, themed on anything, what would it be?
I'd have to say after my favorite cartoons, like as a 90s kid, like all of my favorite cartoons, like All Real Monsters and Rugrats and stuff like that.
Okay, so you'd wear that on your feet.
I would.
Curious if you know anybody that want cookies on their feet. Anybody at all? Cookies on their feet? Probably not.
I mean,
but
I wouldn't be against it.
What's that?
I wouldn't be against it as long as they look good.
Okay, well then there you go. Ian would say yes, he'd wear cookies. TJ's not into it too much. Anybody else in the room?
I would, like, I played soccer in high school, and I always wanted, like, custom cleats.
Mhm.
Like, people whose, like, life impacted me on my cleat. So if I got, like, names of just random people who impacted me over my life, that'd be cool on my cleat.
Okay, so he got deep.
Yeah, he got real deep. He got real deep.
Wow, thank you, Ben. Ben, the intern. Let me tell you about K-Swiss and Girl Scouts. They're doing this whole thing. They are branding Girl Scout cookies now. So if you're into wearing cookies on your feet, you have the Thin Mints. That could be your style of shoe. You could have the coconut caramel as your style of shoe, and then I guess the truffles taste in your style of shoe. So there you go. Girl Scout cookies on your feet.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Let's start thinking about you having a statue made of you, and then it's just put anywhere that you would desire for it to put or be put. So where would that be? 800-447-7234. Rob and Liz, his morning crew, his radio. Okay, let's start with some of our video producers. Ian, where would you have your statue if somebody made one for you?
I feel like I would probably put mine in Germany. I went there when I was 12, and even if I can't go back, if I have a statue there, I'll always be there.
Okay, good. So a lot of pigeons will be visiting yours. Okay, got a couple of interns. Jacob.
I'd probably either have mine in my future house in the middle of my house, just, to get my ego up.
Okay.
Or I would probably put it in Zaxby's because I already live there as it is. So might as well just commemorate me from going there just by putting a statue in there.
Okay, so he'll be holding one of those Zalids or the wings or something like that. Ben Turn, how about you, dude?
Mine's probably, like, my hometown. There's a lake, so probably, like, in the middle of the lake. That way people can drive by on their boat. Or probably Atlanta, because I go there so much.
Atlanta, okay. TJ, please keep it one place. Where would it be?
Put me in Seattle.
Seattle?
Yep.
Why Seattle?
I loved it so much. Just put me next to the gum wall. I've always wondered what I'd look like covered in gum anyway.
Okay, well, you're definitely fulfilling a purpose. They should rip a page off of Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's going to shame you guys right now. Because the legislation, literally, the politicians wanted to put up a statue of Dolly Parton. And you may have seen this because it happened like last week where she said, no, please, no. Now, as a part of her tweet, she went on to say, with this bill that's in legislation in Tennessee, where she lives, it says, given all that's going on in the world right now, I don't want to think of putting me on a pedestal. It's appropriate at this appropriate time. So it's not, she's like, no, she's humbled out. So guys, I'm sorry.
Guess we need to be more humble.
Yeah, be more like Dolly.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
Curious about you. You've seen a victory in your life at 800-447-7234. Keisha is here. What's that victory for you?
The last 8 to 9 years, I have been going to doctors because on my pituitary, they said I had a brain tumor. And I had to go have lab tests done. All 10 of those came back normal. I had to have an MRI done, and they stated I had a 3.3 small tumor on my pituitary. And then this past Thursday, I went back to her, and she told me that I graduated from her, praise God, that it's nothing to worry about. It's just a shadow. It's nothing to worry about.
I can only imagine what you felt when they told you that news.
That was just a relief. I was so worried I was going to have to go through surgery or medication, but God is my medication. He's all I need.
His Morning Crew.
When was the last time one of your pets got a hold of peanut butter? Kind of fun to watch. It's Rob and Liz, His Morning Crew on His Radio. Thank you, by the way, for praying for Liz. She's not here today because one of her extended family members passed away on her husband's side. Thanks for praying for her. Okay, back to peanut butter. Peanut butter, when a pet gets a hold of it, let's say a dog, it's the most hilarious thing that you've ever seen. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I don't know if they ever got a hold of your peanut butter, but it's something. As a matter of fact, somebody made it an art form. There's this photographer that has, I think there's 70 rescue puppies that he went to this rescue place, and Greg Murray decided, I'm just going to take pictures of all these puppies with peanut butter on their nose and their mouth, licking this stuff. It's the most cutest, hilarious, and real thing that you'll ever see. I like this one puppy that has the jar of peanut butter in its mouth.
Dude, this is absolutely amazing. Like, I've never seen anything like this, and it is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, and when it's rescue dogs, I mean, come on.
It's amazing. It's truly blowing my mind that this dude would go and just do this with a bunch of random dogs. But
especially since TJ, our video producer, one of them, will eat out of the jar of peanut butter.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. He's
Straight
a
up.
dude that would actually do it.
I do too. I love me some peanut butter. Good snack.
Yeah, but don't do that now when you have people in your life and there's more people in the house than just you.
I don't reuse the spoon. It's fine.
No. Even if you put the spoon in there, it's like double dipping, number one. And then look at what happens. All of a sudden, there's a pool that happens in your peanut butter.
Well,
seriously,
maybe, but I just lick the peanut butter straight from the jar. Like, it's my peanut butter. Get
No,
away
there's
from
other
it.
people in the house, dude.
Well, there might be, but that's my peanut butter at the time.
Your peanut butter when you have it in your hand, but when you put it back in the thing, it's open game. And those poor people, no wonder why. There's viruses rolling around.
Oh, no. I'm clean.
Yeah, you say that.